Truth is, I thought it mattered. I thought that
money
mattered. But does it bollocks? Not compared to how people matter.
Welcome, Mention and other fine folks, to the Someday Dispatch of the Black Letter, where we contemplate thoughts worth thinking. And boy, I tell you, we live in interesting times. There's a lot of thoughts worth thinking. We've got a lot to go over here, so let's get right to it, shall we? Okay, first up, as you can see, US companies sold stock at the fastest rate ever in May as markets rallied. Now, this is not companies just selling stock, but issuing new stock generally. So you can see here that US public companies sold $65 billion worth of new shares in May, the highest on record. And that's a big jump from the 4.8 in March and the 22 billion sold in April. The 2020 total is now more than 120 billion, the highest since 2015, according to the report. So this is interesting for a couple of reasons. First of all, this is probably making use of the low interest rates to borrow money or to set up new tranches of stock offering to create more income for, for the pandemic, to handle it, to help them sort of get through this issue currently. It's a hell of a thing to see, because what this does is it dilutes the value of all current shares in the market. Just another reason why I think the stock market is detached from reality. I don't understand what's going on. I think we're getting a lot of talking heads telling us all sorts of fibs and downright lies. Everyone's on the hopium, it seems. It's brutal. But here we go. So this is one of the other reasons why I think stock markets are being overvalued right now. People are buying these stocks. Meanwhile, current shares are being diluted. You can see the stock markets here are just continuing up, 2% up already on the S&P 500, almost 2% on the Dow Jones Industrial average. It's just this is just bonkers, crazy times. But here we go. We live in this situation. We've got to figure out how to get through it, and what is the truth. This is part of the problem. I think there's a lot of spinning going on. It's very difficult to trust media generally. So here we go. All right. An Antifa Twitter account that called for looting white hoods was actually run by white nationalist group Identity Europa. A fake Antifa Twitter account that called for violence was actually run by a white nationalist group, according to a Twitter spokesperson. Twitter banned them. But anyway, this is what they were saying. Tonight's the night, comrades. Tonight we say, and we move into the residential areas, the white hoods, and we take what's ours. Boy, I tell you, it sounds like there's a real disconnect or fracturing in the American public. I just don't understand why people think that they're different from their brothers and sisters. We're all the same, really, and we need to understand that in order for us to move forward and find peace and companionship and figuring out how best to move forward together. And if we can't do that, then we're in real trouble. And I think part of the problem is that the officials, those in power, are not de-escalating the situation. If anything, they're escalating it. I mean, to consider bringing in the military against your own people is just pretty poor, in my opinion, and not the right approach. And I don't think it's going to help. I think we're in very, very challenging times. I get the sense that there's almost a teetering here of a sort of social fracturing, civil unrest, if you will. I think it could get worse before it gets better, unfortunately. So be kind, be sympathetic. Everybody's carrying a heavy burden right now. We're all under hair triggers. We're very upset and stressed. So I think the more peace and equanimity and kindness we can share, the better it'll be. So here's another little what I like to call a Fibonacci, a fib, if not a slant on the truth, perhaps, why stocks could keep going higher even with massive unrest across America. Analysts said the protests may be alarming, but they are not impacting the stock market, which remains fixated on the economy's reopening. What reopening? Stores are being looted. People are losing their minds. They're losing their incomes. They're losing their jobs. And this is the early innings, in my opinion. Great rotation continues, it says here. You can see some of the most downtrodden names leading the market higher: industrials, airlines, financial institutions, and energy companies. And here we have one of the clowns entertaining us, saying the market is a forward-looking mechanism. That's nonsense. The market is a schizophrenic hive mentality, a Borg hive mind that's schizophrenic and manic depressive. And right now it's manic. The market is forward-looking mechanism. They see 6 months from now, 9 months from now, and there will be more semblance of order. The economy will be coming back and earnings will be coming back. Estimates have stopped going down. Woohoo, everything's great. No need to worry, folks. We're on the upswing. There's a V-shaped recovery. Everything's going to be great. We're just making money hand over fist. The economy's bouncing back. People are filling in the ships, the cruise lines. People are traveling like they've never done before. They're spending money like they've never done before, hand over fist. We are in great shape, folks. Don't look out your window, because then you might see fires and looting and things of that nature. But just close your eyes, listen to the talking heads, the clowns that want to feed us pablum and nonsense, and everything is great because we can just pretend. All right, on to other things. How to best manage this, in my opinion. I think we need to start moving toward precious metals and cryptocurrencies. At least that's what I'm doing. And you can do what you want. I'm just offering some thoughts to think about. But here we go. So how to use Samsung smartphones to buy and sell cryptocurrencies. I think this is a neat article. Obviously, Samsung, the flagship phones, are amongst the best sellers of high-end phones worldwide. So for about a year now, Samsung has rather quietly supported a blockchain wallet app on its flagship devices. And then it sort of tells you how to go about installing it. So you need to set up the wallet. It involves using the Samsung blockchain key store. And this is also done in consultation with Gemini. So it has a Gemini integration. As you know, Gemini is owned and was developed by the Winklevoss twins. Tyler Winklevoss lays out some features of the integration, including that it'll allow people to transfer funds into cold storage from their phones as well. So I think this is a great way of getting more wide adoption of cryptocurrencies. The problem currently, and I've noticed this myself as a Gen Xer, is that accessing cryptocurrencies, buying them, is not as easy and seamless as it needs to be. For example, I was trying Coinbase and I couldn't get a credit card to be accepted on there, and of course I couldn't get a debit card accepted on there either. So I can't use Coinbase, at least not very easily in Canada. But there are a lot of other options. There's more options opening up all the time, and I think we're just going to see this continue. So this is good news for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies generally. Bitcoin approaching year-to-date highs as Plan B's stock to flow model, S2F, now predicts a bull run to 100,000 by 2021. As a refresher, S2F, or stock to flow models, determine the value of tokens by comparing the addition of new supply from mining with the existing volume in circulation, also known as the stock. So the stock is how many Bitcoins are out there currently, and the flow is how many are being mined each year, right? And as you know, we just had a halving event. So usually that becomes basically the amount of Bitcoins that can be mined per block is halved. And so that creates a lower amount of flow with limited stock. And of course, that number increases. And that means as the number increases, the price of Bitcoin should start increasing as well. And as you can see here, Plan B, who has been promoting this, and sort of came up with this idea. And this is historically based on the stock to flow model, has been used not just for cryptocurrencies, but it has quite a rich history of being used for precious metals particularly. So it is not just something that's been developed for cryptocurrencies. It's been a useful model historically as well for actual precious metals. You can see the red dot is released, which means that they're starting to build up pent up demand. You can see here after the, I don't know what this was, the third halving maybe? This was the third, or we in the fourth halving? I'm not sure, but there you go. You see how as the red dots come, they start to increase. And they saw it here as well. So interesting to watch. We'll see what happens. And in 2024-ish is when we'll have the next halving. And at that point, say by the end of this decade, this model suggests that Bitcoin could become worth $1 million per Bitcoin. But we'll have to see. Nevertheless, I think this is a great opportunity in managing and keeping value and staying ahead. I think I see it as perhaps the best opportunity right now for most folks to build really great wealth. I mean, the stock market, yeah, it could keep going up, but it's in bubble territory in my mind. This is all opinion, of course, but I think stock market is not something to be in right now until we have some real correction and we get another, perhaps a year, 18 months from now, we get a real sense of where things are at with this current issues we're dealing with. So here we go. As of the 12th of May 2020, the reward was again cut in half in the third such halving event to 6.25 new Bitcoins for every block mined. Some of the most massive increases in Bitcoin's price in the past have been preceded by these halving events. You can see here it rose from 12 to 1,000 in the 12 months that followed the first halving event in 2012. So that's good news. We'll see what happens. It's very volatile at this stage, but as soon as you get mass adoption, I think the volatility will start to reduce. All right, here we have Coinbase buckles. Exchange goes down as Bitcoin spikes past $10,000. The reason I bring this up is because I think it's important for folks to know, if you're new to crypto, that you can buy cryptocurrencies on exchanges such as Coinbase. There's Coinberry in Canada, Newton as well is another one. So these exchanges, you can buy your crypto coins, and they'll often store them for you, so you'll notice your Bitcoin value or the amount of Bitcoin you have on these exchanges. But it's important, as soon as you get a reasonable amount of Bitcoin or other cryptocurrency in, say, your local currency, I don't know what that would be, but let's say if you get up to a few $100 worth or $1,000, I think it's important at that point to send the Bitcoin to yourself into a mobile wallet, if you will, where you own it and you control it, rather than relying on these exchanges to keep your Bitcoin for you. That's pretty risky. And then if you get, substantial amounts, say, few $1,000s worth of Bitcoin on your mobile wallet, at that point I would consider personally moving to a paper wallet or offline cold storage, as they call it. And I like paper best rather than Nano Ledger or anything of these natures. I'm a little bit old school that way. You have to trust the software on these USB sticks or these ledgers that they call them, the cold storage. Anyway, so that's something to be aware of. How to get 3% back in crypto on your Nike purchases. So US footwear giant Nike has entered a new affiliate partnership allowing customers to earn up to 3% from online purchases with crypto. The rewards are generated in Plutus's native token Pluton, PLU, a decentralized loyalty token running on the Ethereum network. So here we see this as Ethereum again, which is great news. Ether, I think, is going to be a good coin to own in the long term. Bitcoin, Ethereum, I think Ripple is another good one. Beyond that, I'm not that savvy with them, but I think those are certainly, I'm considering as my top three. But this is good news. So, you start seeing big companies start to realize that folks, especially millennials, as we'll get to next, are really into cryptocurrencies. And this is a way to start create additional loyalty rewards. I think it's a fantastic idea. You'll probably see more and more of this as it goes. Crypto could save millennials from the economy that failed them. The millennial generation will lead humanity to an era of new financial technology as they drive Bitcoin adoption through the next decade. And I'm really excited about this. As I said, I'm a Gen Xer, so I think I really am encouraged by the millennials generally. Their sort of cultural milieu and their zeitgeist. They seem to have a handle on what's nonsense and what isn't. And they certainly have great familiarity with Bitcoin. You see, it's increasing as well. From the yellow is 2017, the purple is 2019, and you can see that it's increasing, especially amongst my cohort. And just across the board, people are starting to realize and learn about Bitcoin as well. And here you can see folks generally consider Bitcoin to be a positive innovation in financial technology. I'm not sure about this 35 to 45 group. Is that Gen Z? Anyway, they have other issues, I guess, perhaps. But across the board, you can see that folks are really starting to see Bitcoin as a positive innovation, especially as we start to lose trust in fiat. And the diffusion of innovations. So here's how generally market share increases. I believe we're at about the early adopter stage here. And so I think there's lots of opportunity, lots of runway to get into cryptocurrency. So I wouldn't worry about it. I wouldn't try and put all your money into it, dollar cost averaging, which a lot of these exchanges can allow for, or you can just do it yourself on a weekly basis, put in 20, 30 bucks, 50 bucks, whatever you can, and build up a small amount. That's certainly what I'm trying to do. So great news. The millennials really encourage me because I think that our future is in great hands with them. I think they're cutting through the nonsense and the noise and getting to the crux of the issues that are facing us, and they're going to be leading us out of this as well. So that's excellent. I love that. I was thinking, how could somebody, a newbie, get into cryptocurrency generally, and especially if you don't have any money? As a lot of folks are really struggling. There's not really much extra shekels out there or fiat for people to be spending on Bitcoin or anything else. So one thing that I think I would offer as a suggestion, I'm not doing this, and I don't know how you would do this, but it looks fairly straightforward, is start using the Brave browser. It's good, it's better than Chrome because it keeps you a little bit segregated from Google and how they're tracking you. But more than that, Brave has as you can see, Brave Rewards. So you get rewarded for browsing and supporting your favorite content creators. So that's one way of doing it. You just look at ads. You can make a little bit of BAT, which is the basic attention token. That's what BAT stands for. And you can see it's about 21 cents currently, or thereabouts. So the thing is, how much can you make from looking at ads? So I was doing some research, and this is what I came up with. So theoretically, if you browse 12 hours a day and 7 days a week, you would see approximately 1,800 ads per month and earn approximately 90 BAT, basic attention tokens, per month. So that's not a ton, and it's unlikely, as it says, but the most he has seen, this person, or she, sorry, so far is someone who earned approximately 45 BAT in a month. So if you can even just earn 5 BAT in a month, that's something. Now, of course, it's not a lot. It seems here that apparently you'll earn about 0.05 of a BAT per ad that you watch. So what does that turn out to be? So 0.05, here we have basic attention. 1 BAT is worth 21 cents. So then 0.1 of a BAT would be worth 2 cents. And I guess half a BAT then would be worth, 0.05 of a BAT would be worth about 1 cent. So you're only getting about a penny per ad that you watch. But, over time it can add up, and it'll get you comfortable with cryptocurrencies and how to use them and how wallets work and that sort of thing. So this is basically a risk-free way of just getting your feet wet into the cryptocurrency space if you're a little concerned and you don't have any money at all. So anyway, I thought I'd share that with you, refresh this, because this might be wrong now, but here we go. So here's the 24-hour market cap activity. As you can see, Bitcoin is still down below 10. It's been struggling there for a while. Coin, Ethereum, XRP, those are the ones that I fancy currently. And then here you can see Stellar is another one that I think is interesting. It's been doing quite well lately, as you can see. And then where's the BAT? Here it is. So it's it's gone up a little bit. So it's 22 cents. It's doing relatively well. So there's a way to earn cryptocurrency for free. And then to end, we need to be proactively anti-racist, Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse says. And this is one of the reasons I just thought I'd bring this up, because I'm very concerned about the way that folks have been treated, of different minority groups, especially in the United States and globally too, but especially in the US as we see that now. And this is why I'm a big fan of cryptocurrency. One of the reasons, because people understand in this environment, in this sort of cryptocurrency world, folks are very forward thinking and inclusive, and that's why I'm a big fan of it. This is a way for us to get away, to get our necks from out from under the boot, and start building a future for ourselves, for a society we want to envision, where we don't need trust, we don't need authorities to really dictate how we go about business and finance and things of that nature. There you go, folks. Remember, keep the faith. Stay well. Thank you for listening. I appreciate your time. Be kind and compassionate. And remember, dum spiro, spero.